Hello, and welcome to this episode of Objectively Wrong, presented by The Next Man Up. As always, I'm John, that's 17, and I am excited today.
I'm not.
I pulled a badass Pokemon card last night. I am hype. So, Rainbow Charizard at me. So, we got a lot to talk about today. Lot to do. Lot of stuff on the docket today. We're going to bring you the next position group. And it's kind of two position groups. It's DTs and DNs. So we're doing DTs and edge today. We lumped them together. And we got a mock draft. Our post-free agency mock draft. And would you believe it? It was harder to make this one than the first one.
It was easy for me.
No, easy, way easier for the Raiders. Way easier for the Raiders.
Didn't even show up. We went out drinking.
Didn't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Didn't even have to think about it. Yeah, this is, and for the Eagles, it's hell.
we found Devontae Adams in the corner of a bar, said keep the change, and walked away.
Left the picks and left with the player. Not a lot to think about with regards to the Raiders, but let's start today off with some news. And the news we have today is just 3 levels of weird and 4th level of all right. Bobby Wagner is a freaking Ram.
Who's surprised?
I guess I'm not. Can anyone even be surprised anymore with this league? Weirdest new league year period I think we've ever seen.
He almost went to the Ravens, and I'm just
Did you really?
Now. Yeah, I'm just
I didn't hear that. Yeah, I didn't hear that. Hey, it's a player. Actually, a player chose an NFC team.
He saw what was going on in the AFC, and he's like, no, no.
Hey, no. I'm thinking no. Yeah, this is something.
More people thought about that.
Yeah, this is definitely something.
Also, Tyrann Mathieu and Stephon Gilmore, Wagner got released and signed in the time frame on the open market.
Yeah,
make your decision, dude.
Tyrann's still out there. Gilmore's still out there. It's April. I mean, what are we doing?
Waiting for?
I mean, the claim is they're waiting for value. If it's not there, it's not there. I don't know what to say. I value Tyrann Mathieu highly. I definitely don't value Gilmore as highly as I used to. Because when the Patriots signed him originally, I think I might have said it to you, I was like, he's going to be the best corner in the NFL in about 1 year. And he was. He became the best corner in the NFL for about 3 years. Mm-hmm. So I was dead on with Stephon Gilmore. He outplayed Ramsey for the beginning part of Ramsey's career. I don't look at what?
Just the way we talk about Jalen Ramsey on this show, it really sounds like we have a personal problem.
Yeah, he lives rent free. No, I have nothing against Jalen Ramsey. I have something against his contract. I have nothing against the player. He's a great player.
Speaking of contract, Bobby Wagner, 5 years, $50 million.
Linebackers consistently undervalued.
31 years old, John.
I understand that, but 10 mil for probably the best middle linebacker in football still? Probably. Is there a better one? Fred Warner's good, but Darius Leonard's good, but it's Bobby Wagner.
You know what's funny about Darius Leonard?
Huh.
Why is he still a Colt?
What? Why is he still a what?
I mean, does it not seem like that's the type of player that would have forced himself onto a better team?
No, it doesn't. What are you talking? Okay. Why is he still a Colt?
Maybe I'm just waking up
because the Colts aren't stupid.
Maybe I'm just waking up in the middle of the night. Darius, why are you a Colt?
Wakes up, babe, get up. Darius Leonard's still a Colt. Dude, go back to bed. You're just being weird. Yeah, Darius Leonard. Why is Darius Leonard still a Colt? Because they have. I mean, no, wasn't he paid?
Who cares?
I think they paid him.
This offseason to show me that money doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It so doesn't. Exemplified by Xavier Howard.
My lord, this man's agent needs a golden statue.
Yeah, but not in Miami because the Dolphins got to be like, oh my God, I hate that guy.
They can't afford that guy. Xavier Howard is ridiculous. Do you have the contract up?
I just opened up an article. Let's see real quick. Make sure that I have every little bit here.
He is the number one paid CB right now in the NFL.
Number one guaranteed CB money in NFL history. Most guaranteed money ever for a CB in this league.
And he's making just over 25 a year right now, too.
Can we recall about 3 months ago, he was trying to get out of Miami?
Oh, yeah.
And now he's there for 5 more years.
Yep.
Like, wow, what a difference. What a difference that time can make.
What a difference time can make. It takes to drive over the Brinks truck into my house.
Those things don't go that fast. They're slow.
They take a while.
They're bulky.
They take a Byron Jones.
Oh, God. On Friday, the two sides came to terms via CBS. On Friday, the two sides came to terms on a restructured 5-year contract that includes it's a lot of random numbers. I'm just going to say nearly $52 million. It says, how do you say includes nearly $51,691,177? That's literally down to the dollar. It's nearly to that dollar. What?
No, there's an extra cent that they're not counting.
Oh, wait. This is according to Howard's agent. All of that in new money. Mm-hmm. The deal includes the most guaranteed money for a corner in NFL history, and he had 3 years, 39.3 left on the previous deal. Okay. Big money. Lots of big money. Good for Xavier Howard. It is.
Him and Tyree can go party in a Miami club.
It was officially a 2-year, roughly $51 million contract extension, which is an average of 25.5.
He's a quarterback.
So officially that's what it was, but it was on top of the 3 for 39. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how they're going to disperse those funds, but it's a lot of money to sink into now both corners.
Now moving on from Miami.
But real quick, Howard's amazing. Howard's a great corner. Byron Jones is clearly overpaid. Now,
hey, I'm happy they did it because it was me or them.
it was you or me or them. Instead, I got Darius Slay, who is a better player and I think cheaper right now, but he is older. That's the one downside to Slay. But Slay has been an amazing Eagle. He's been great. I would do that trade again, as I'm sure you would have as well.
Sure. Yeah.
When Josina Anderson. When Josina Anderson announced the Darius Slay trade to Philly, I called MT and I'm like, ha ha! The team was sad. Anyway.
And then when you called me for the Davante Adams trade, I didn't believe you.
He didn't know.
Yeah.
He wasn't sure yet.
Yeah, I was asleep.
You were asleep?
Yeah, I was napping.
Okay, I thought he was like, I thought you were crying.
No, I was when
napping. I called. I thought you were like upset about something.
No, I was napping. You called me. And you said, I think you just said Davante Adams. And then I'm like, what? And then you said, you got Davante Adams. I'm like, no, I didn't.
No, I didn't. Yes, you did.
Checks pulse. Am I still asleep?
Hey, look, a Raichu. It was just sitting here.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was here. Cool.
So
I like Raichu. Also, a Devontae Smith.
So moving on from one infusion of money to
a dilution of coaching.
Yeah.
Or I guess a dissolution. I don't want to say dilution because the replacement is fine. It's a great coach.
Or give me like a conspiracy voice entrance into this segment.
Imagine if you will.
Imagine if you will. Tom Brady returns to Tampa Bay. And his head coach instantly leaves.
What voice is that?
I don't know.
I've never heard you augment your voice before. That wasn't bad.
Good.
I've heard worse.
Good.
I don't know what you're trying to do.
Neither do
But
I.
it's fun. Yes, I was going for like Twilight Zone. Imagine if you will. Like I was going with the downtone of like the 40s or 50s, like
Yeah.
newsboy voice.
What did I go for?
I have no clue. I can't.
Darth Sidious in the corner going, woo.
Now you will die.
Anyways, Bruce Arians, semi-retired. He's been moved to a role in the front offense.
Front offense.
Front offense.
The front offense of the back defense.
Conspiracy theories live and breathe through Tom Brady.
And through me.
At least Todd Bowles gets the job opportunity he deserves.
Yeah, so if Tom Brady had stayed retired,
Bruce Arians probably would still be good.
Bruce Arians would be the head coach.
If you want to
in the
believe
Buccaneers.
conspiracy theories, yeah, Bruce Arians probably could.
Now, I think that's probably true. I know it's a conspiracy theory, but I'm on with it. Like I'm like sure. And if you ask me why I'm sure, shut up. I don't know. I can't explain it, but it smells weird. This smells very weird.
You had all of the like Brady to Miami stuff going on. It's done now.
Well, yeah, was the Brady and Miami stuff ever real? Like it almost felt like
they were really pushing it.
I know there was a lot of smoke, but it almost felt like it had been completely disavowed. Like I did not put much stock into it at all. Why would you go from one Florida town to the other one in the AFC?
Better real estate property. I don't know.
It's just more AFC. I mean, you got to go back to the AFC.
That's the problem with that entire like thinking. Why would Tom Brady unretire, see what happened in the AFC, and be like, I need
some of that.
Yeah. Why would Tom Brady leave Matthew Stafford alone in the NFC?
Right. Stafford and Rodgers, but Rodgers with no one to throw to. Like, this is interesting because I don't understand why would anybody want to go to the AFC right now. It is a nightmare. Remember a few years back, the NFC was like a bunch of Titans. Mm-hmm. But like, and not Tennessee's Titans, but there were a bunch of beasts in the NFC. The Eagles looked like the next up and coming like super team. You had Minnesota that looked like they were a quarterback away.
Minnesota was like the perennial. We're almost there.
I know. You had Green Bay. It was in their prime. You had New Orleans flying high. Atlanta killing it. You had a lot of teams that were really good. And now San Fran was good. They're still good. Meanwhile, all those teams have gotten worse. Mm-hmm. Minnesota, Philly, and New Orleans and Atlanta. Atlanta's a nightmare, but the other three have just become not so good. And San Fran is maintained to some degree. Green Bay still has Rodgers. That's about it. There's nothing else in the NFC. What do we want to talk about? Dallas? I mean, come on.
Dallas will find ways.
Dallas will find a way to Dallas.
You know what? Time. The Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Chargers are really the same team.
No, they're not.
They find ways to mess stuff up.
The thing is, both have bad owners. They're just very different owners. You know what's funny is nobody thinks Jerry Jones is a bad owner, but they should consider that he might be because there's nobody more meddlesome.
I think Randy Gregory thinks he's a bad owner.
I think Randy Gregory's happy to be out of there. Yeah. I really think that. I know a lot of players.
The AFC.
Yeah, and into the pit. Not only the AFC, the seventh circle of hell. They're in the Elden Ring of the AFC.
There's a pit and there's a smaller pit.
Yeah, there's the AFC. There's the AFC, which is like Elden Ring, and then there's the AFC West, which is like Sekiro. For those that aren't gamers, Elden Ring is a very hard game. Sekiro is an ungodly hard game. So that's how that goes. Bruce Arians coming back, or I'm sorry, not coming back, and giving way to Todd Bowles. First of all, Todd Bowles is a good coach, so I'm glad he's a head coach. Bruce Arians apparently wanted to make it a point to have his interims take over, or have his assistants become the head coach. I do like that Tampa made it very, very clear. Todd Bowles does not have the interim tag. He is the head coach, period. So I totally appreciate that. So Bowles becomes the head coach in Tampa with a good defense and a good offense. I'm surprised that the choice was not Leftwich. I am surprised.
You know,
Other than Leftwich being substantially younger than Todd Bowles.
I'm also not surprised though.
Okay.
Because if you look at Bruce Arians, Todd Bowles is his protege.
Right.
Like, so if it's Bruce
Temple
Arians,
both from the Temple from the Temple Owls in college.
Bruce Arians making the choice, it's always going to be Todd Bowles.
Probably.
Yeah. Tom Brady making the choice, it's Leftwich.
Tom Brady making the choice, it's Josh McDaniels.
Well, he missed out on that. You can have him in
Right.
a couple of years, probably.
You know what? If I were a Raider fan, I'd be like, you can have him now.
Can I have Todd Bowles?
You know what? I'd make the trade if I were the Raiders. I would. This is interesting. Tampa becomes the most hateable franchise in the NFL. They already were. Nothing to see here. Speaking of nothing to see here, Devontae Parker's career. How harsh can I be? Devontae Parker,
N'Keal Harry him.
the most fair, the most oft injured number one wide receiver I've ever heard of, is on his way to not leaving the division. Miami trades Parker and a 5th round pick for New England's 2023 3rd round pick. Ebteen, winners and losers. Miami
next year, N'Keal Harry has lost.
Yeah, N'Keal Harry is a huge loser here, but Miami's I agree. I think Miami's a big win. I think Miami wins this big time. I'm not saying Parker's not a good player. He is. He's just never healthy. Never healthy. I just, you keep hearing all these things about, Devontae Parker is this good. Devontae Parker can do this, do that. He's 6'3", and he plays like he's 5'11" because he's always hurt in the legs. So it's concerning. I've kind of, the Eagles have been rumored for Devontae Parker for years, and I've put no stock in it any time because I'm sitting here like, why do we want that? He's never healthy. He clearly has a problem.
Who else is a winner? OBJ is actually a winner.
Yeah, how is he still not signed?
Because he's hurt. But maybe actually no, he's actually a loser now because he can't bring up the market a little bit more.
Right. What was that? Antonio Brown talking about how he doesn't understand why the market isn't there for him. Dude, how do you not understand?
No, just keep that.
How hard did Vontaze Burfict hit you?
Keep that guy out of the show, dude.
I agree.
Like Antonio, you know what? We'll talk about Antonio Brown if he ever returns to the NFL. Until then, he's with Kevin. He's in the corner.
Yeah, he could stay over there.
But yeah,
Kevin, you are forbidden from mentioning him.
But
we don't like him here. That's somebody we don't like. We don't like Jalen Ramsey's contract, but we don't like Antonio Brown.
Devontae Parker, this trade honestly makes sense. He needed to get out of Miami. He needed a fresh start.
I think he's a winner here too. I agree.
The Patriots need a wide receiver. What this trade tells me is that they're worried that the guy they like isn't going to be there.
Okay.
But besides that, Devontae Parker is really just a depth piece, I think, for them. But he does enter a wide receiver core that's not that good. It's Jacoby Myers and Nelson Aguilar.
And there's Kendrick Bourne.
And Kendrick Bourne.
It's a lot of WR 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Parker is also a 2 or a 3 right now.
But if he remains healthy.
If he's healthy, yeah, the sky's been the limit for him.
You might have just bought low on a wide receiver one.
The sky's been the limit for Devontae Parker so long as he stays healthy. I'm also going to mark Miami as the biggest winner here because Miami has put themselves in a very enviable position. Got themselves Tyreek Hill, cost them a lot of capital this year. The Dolphins did not have didn't have the regular one because of a trade with Philly last year to get Jalen Waddle. But Miami does have a late one. They trade that away to Kansas City for Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
So they were able to facilitate a trade for an elite level player with found capital, late round found capital. Kansas City gets picked back to back now, but they've replenished a great deal of it. And next year, the Miami Dolphins have 2 1s, a 2, and now 2 3s. So the Dolphins are going to go,
This collection of draft picks in the top 3 rounds is very important if if Tua fails,
Right. You hit
you
it
have
exactly.
the capital to go get a quarterback.
You hit it right on the head. Now, preliminarily, I don't know if I've said this on the show yet. I don't like next year's quarterback class at all.
You don't. CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are not your favorite people.
They are not. But
Favorite quarterbacks.
they can change my mind. I have nothing against the people. I'm sure they're fine people. I don't love the tape. Bryce Young, I like a little more than CJ Stroud. I think Stroud might be a bust.
I think
But
from what we've watched, just watching the players for this year, because I don't care about next year's players. I'm
Right.
zeroed in.
we're zeroed in on this year.
Yeah.
We're not looking at next year yet.
So, but from what like the tangential stuff, watching Georgia tape, watching Alabama tape, watching Ohio State tape, I'm worried about CJ Stroud. I mean, Ohio State has a good wide receiver still next year. Like we noticed that while watching Olave and Garrett Wilson. There's a young kid over there that's going to be a top 15 pick.
I don't even want to say his name yet because like Ohio State fans will know who we're talking about.
Yeah. Do you want me to say his name?
I don't.
You don't.
I don't. I want to keep him out because I don't want him to cloud anybody's view of this year's wide receivers.
Okay.
There is a player at Ohio State this year. His number is 11.
He was very impressive.
And we like him.
He was very impressive.
We like him.
Was it number 11?
Like 11 or 1.
I think you're right. I think it was 11.
Screw it. Let's just say the name.
Well, okay. It's Jackson Smith Njigba. I'm hoping I'm saying that right.
Well, it's not actually 11.
He is 11.
I got 11 right now. Is Austin Mack. They have 2 11s.
Okay, I'm on the Fox Sports website. Anyways,
He also wears 11. Whatever.
yeah,
Jackson Smith
really
and Jiba. Yeah, that's a great player. I think it should be fun. But if CJ Stroud can't look good with that guy, I'd be surprised. That would be unfortunate. That would be very telling for me, at least.
And then the worry I have with Bryce Young is also the same thing I have with CJ Stroud. The wide receiver talent on both of them are kind of ridiculous.
Right.
But yeah, from what I saw, I do like Bryce Young more right now. It's a bad quarterback draft next year, actually. Outside those guys, until someone comes up like that, this Keon Slovis is coming out that draft.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
But yeah, unless someone else just comes up and like proves himself, these two are the top 2. It's obvious, and I saw more from Bryce Young than I did from CJ Stroud. But let's move off from wide receivers. Let's move on to the people that hunt them, John.
Got you.
Make them kill them.
Let's go hunting. And we're going to start with defensive. You want to start with tackles?
Yeah, it's short.
Tackles.
Short and sweet.
Let's do some tackles. And this year we're bringing 5.
It's not a deep class.
Last year, what we do? We brought like 3. It's deeper than last year.
We're getting better.
There's a first-round tackle in this class. There's actually a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, there was not. There was Christian Barmore and then a whole bunch of crap.
And he fell. No, Christian Barmore didn't fall.
Second round.
Okay, he fell.
Didn't go in the first, yeah. Actually,
let's start from the bottom. No,
wait, I actually remember.
Wait,
I remember him falling further than that. Actually, wait a minute. Why do I think he wasn't a 2? Oh no, he was a 2. Okay, I'm wrong. He was a 2. Anyway, okay. So let's begin at the bottom, like we have for every other position. And when we get to number 2, we have a little bit of a disclaimer to provide for you people. Let's start at number 5. Number 5.
Perrion Winfrey, Oklahoma. 6'4", 290.
Nice. So here's what's funny about his tape. You heard that size, 6'4", 290. Golly, he looks bigger than that. He does not look 290. He looks about 310. So that's a plus. If you look that big and you're not that heavy, that means you got a good body type. I can dig it. For the modern DT, he moves well with that body. Can utilize the frame. He's not especially gifted laterally, but his north-south is pretty strong. I'd call it aggressively efficient. The biggest knock I have on him is the guy falls a lot. Like his balance is sus. It's just not. Is that an official NFL metric? Sus. His balance is sussy.
Let me check with Chris Collinsworth. Chris, what do you say?
His balance. Now here's a guy.
Who's sussy.
Who's sussy. Here's a guy who's sussy. I think he's going to be a fine rotational defensive tackle in this league. High motor, does not take plays off, and he's probably going to outwork just about everybody on the field. You're going to hear us mention that about the next guy too. These guys are huge effort players. And it's going to be a guy that's going to make a team very happy. I wrote here that he's going to be like a household name. I'm going to mend that. He would be a locker room name as far as a player that is around for a while that is just consistently contributing. And your veterans love him.
Now, he was projected to go between rounds 2 and 3. We agree with that assessment.
Yeah, that's pretty on.
Yeah. Moving on to someone who's pretty similar to him. These guys are both in their own sort of group.
Number 4.
Travis Jones. Also 6'4", 325. Really, another strong effort guy, like John said.
High effort.
Yeah.
Really high motor.
This man loves the swim move.
Ooh, Lordy.
He uses it on almost every single
like 90% of the
time. He has strong potential. I would say I was hoping to get him in the 3rd. I don't think he's going to make it to me in the 3rd. Yeah, he needs the right coaching because, again, he only has one move. He has a lot of strong effort, but the talent, not the talent, the ability doesn't match the effort that he's putting out there. So you get a little bit of coaching. He might end up becoming one of the best defensive tackles out of this class. It's a lot of potential here. He's not a first-round talent, but if you got him in the 2nd, you'd be pretty happy.
This is a very high ceiling player. The problem is his floor right now is lower than some of these other players, than the 3 guys above him. His ceiling is as high as the guys above him. He just needs to hit it. And again, that comes with the right coaching, comes with the right situation. We think he's very, not necessarily scheme dependent, but he needs to be cultivated in the right way. If he's not, I still think he's going to be a capable player.
Yeah.
So, but hit him with the right stuff, and he'll really surprise people.
Now, for the teams, because pass rushing defensive tackles are becoming all the rage right now.
Right.
Would you draft, like, let's separate these two. Would you take Travis Jones or Perrion Winfrey right now if you're looking for a pass rushing defensive tackle?
To start for me?
Yeah.
To start for me, I might take Winfrey. As far as pass rush dependent, I like Winfrey better as a pass rusher than a run stuffer, whereas I see Jones as being very competent at both. So if I were to pick purely on pass rush, I might go Winfrey. I think Winfrey may end up going over Jones for the simple reason of what I addressed at the beginning. He's kind of light, but he doesn't play light. So his athleticism, which he is a very gifted athlete, will show. Whereas Travis Jones, I could see Jones in a 3-tech, feasibly. I don't know if I do it, but I could see it. You know, he's a mobile big man. Winfrey's just a touch more mobile. I feel Jones is the more technically gifted guy right now, whereas Winfrey has more of the things that you can't really quantify. I noticed one thing about Winfrey, though, and we're going to mention this big time with somebody when we talk about the edges. Winfrey was not the fastest guy off the line.
He wasn't.
He was not the fastest guy off the line. Jones seemed to have a very good internal clock. So it's funny how close it is with these two guys. And it's not like the gap between them and 3 is massive. It's there, but it's not huge. Gun to my head, Winfrey, for a pass rusher though. If I'm going day one pass rushing, I would have to say Winfrey.
All right, let's move on. Number 3.
Number 3.
Phidarian Mathis. Say that 5 times fast.
Phidarian.
Alabama, 6'4", once again, 310 pounds. He's projected to go between rounds 2 and 3. What did we see? We saw Will Anderson a lot.
Colin, okay. So, yeah, the best player in next year's draft is Will Anderson. We have watched the Alabama-Georgia game at least 1 million times.
Yeah.
Both of them. Because there are so many Alabama and Georgia prospects, and the way to gauge them is to watch that game. You have to watch them play the best competition. There's no way to do it other than to watch that game. You could name a time, and I'm going to know what play was run at that time at this point. Now, I would not, but it is getting ridiculous. I bet you it's my most viewed video on YouTube. And I'm someone that goes to sleep with YouTube running with a playlist. I think this is probably my most viewed video on YouTube. Anyway, Mathis. What am I seeing? Smith. There's no Smith anywhere near here. Phidarian Mathis. Oh my God. Phidarian Mathis is a step below guys 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
It's pretty clear.
Yeah.
That guys 1 and 2 are guys 1 and 2. There's a reason there's only 2 DTs really being weighed in the first round, and they're both going to go in the first round. One of them may not, from something that I read yesterday, which I think is disrespectful, because we're going to address the number 2 guy. I read that. I read an article yesterday. That's why I mentioned it before the show, Epstein. Mm-hmm. There was one article I read yesterday where there is reporting about him not finding the first round. I think that would be a colossal mistake.
You know what happened? Just fall a little bit longer. just a little bit more.
He's not going to the third. Crazy. Phidarian Mathis has got great mobility. He's got a great nose for the football. He seems to always be in on tackles. He's definitely going to start as a rotational tackle, but he's going to start as one of the best ones. One of the best ones to the point of a fan base is going to be calling for him to start over whoever the team's number 2 DT is after about half the season, because he's going to show out in rotation way better than whoever that other DT is. He appears to be, however, a much better run stopper, which is
kind of weird, considering this class is mostly just pass rushers.
Right. Now, there's a very specific team fit. I don't know what team it would be, but if you're a team hunting for a run stuffing defensive tackle, you might want to take a swing at Mathis before you are forced to wait for Jones and Winfrey, because this is a much better run stuffer than either of those two. Unless you address DT in the first round with one of the other 2 guys, this is your weird sweet spot. And we have him in the mid to late 2, probably closer to the late 2. He's a little smaller. He plays a little smaller than how big he is at 6'4", 310. But in this case, it's actually a pro because he's way more athletic than his size provides, and he's got an incredibly high IQ. His pursuit and recognition of plays just seems to be top-notch.
So what separates him between the top 2 is really just a lack of natural gifts.
The top 2 guys are tier 1, and this is tier 2. Mathis is alone in tier 2. The top 2 guys are just special, and there's something to be said about both of them. And it's why we're going to kind of lump them together.
Yeah.
Because we listed it, number 2. Number 2 is Devontae Wyatt, and number 1 is Jordan Davis. And what's crazy is we're not basing that off Davis's combine, because the combine is a barometer, but it is not a hard and fast rule. It helps you measure things. It doesn't help you decide things. If it did, Kevin White would be the best receiver in the National Football League, and Melifonwu will be employed.
OB!
And Byron Jones would be the highest pay. Oh, wait. Anyway.
Xavier!
Both Dolphins. What are they doing?
What's Minka Fitzpatrick going to do?
He left forced a trade.
He left to Miami to get away from Brian Flores. Brian Flores came back.
No, he got away from the tank. He left to get away from the tank. It wasn't Flores. Anyway.
So let's do a little compare and contrast.
Yes.
Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt are your 1 and 2 respectively. It's close. Jordan Davis is 6'6", 341, projected going to the top 15. We have a first round grade on him. Devontae Wyatt is 6'3", 304 pounds, projected to go in the first round. Apparently, there's possibilities he could fall into the second. We have a first round grade on him. They're both Georgia defensive tackles.
The problem we had this year, and I'm sure every draft analyst is having this problem, is deciding what on Georgia's defense was the fulcrum.
Yeah.
Because you've got 4 first-round picks on that Georgia defense.
Do we? Who's the 4th one?
Walker and Dean. Wyatt, Davis, Walker, Dean.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Kobe Dean.
Okay. Anyway.
Why do I keep on forgetting he exists?
I have no idea. I really don't, because I think you're sleeping. Guys, linebackers next week. Don't miss it. The funny thing is I'm going to have to convince him to keep Dean high. But I will do the Lord's work. Anyway. Wyatt is an interesting what?
I just want to say, cast them down into the pits of the AFC West.
Pits of misery, dilly. I miss that.
Yeah, I do too.
It's 4 years old and I miss it to hell. They need to bring it back. They put, by the way, the guy that played the king that's in the dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him in some cell company's commercial recently, and I was like, dilly.
How you fallen, king?
Dilly. How far have you fallen? They need to bring back the Bud Knight in a very big way.
They do.
I refuse. I will not age past whatever I was in 27. What was I? 22? I want to be 22 again. I'm almost 27. This is stupid. Anyway, Wyatt and Davis are kind of a yin and yang, but we noticed something very, very telling through watching the Alabama and Georgia games.
Twice. And then 50 times over. We watched more tape, but we've watched more tape, but that was aggressively addressed. We watched that tape for Louis Sign.
God. Golly. So Sign's a good player, but it's not this.
Go to the second round.
Probably.
Yeah, he's
probably in the second round. I think that's what we graded him, right?
Yeah.
I think we put him in the second. I was like, did we put him in the first?
No.
I hope not. What were we on? Anyway, Davis and Wyatt. Davis is huge, right? He's 6'6", he's 341. He ran like a freaking gazelle at the combine.
A very fast tank.
This is a very fast tank. There's a car alarm going off outside my window.
I can't hear it.
Thank God. I can, and I hate it. Davis is huge, and he has things that you can't teach. He is very big, and he is very fast. That is who he is. He's not laterally gifted.
No.
His hands are just okay. But his north-south movement, for how big he is objectively ridiculous. And that's the scary thing with Jordan Davis, is that he has one trait. He has a trait that is actually off the charts. The problem I wrote it in the notes. I'm going to say it exactly as I wrote it. Yeah, he's fast, and he ran fast at that size. So what? He's not running routes. He's getting to a quarterback. I think where Jordan Davis should fall, and I think it's funny I'm mentioning number 1 guy versus number 2 guy, but I think where Jordan Davis should fall is to a team where they already have an established D-line. I wrote here, Tampa, Philly, Washington, Pittsburgh. That's Washington. I can't imagine Washington doing it, but the other 3 teams, Baltimore would be a good fit. Actually, I think Baltimore might be the team. I think that's where we might have mocked him there. We're going to go over the mock after these positions, guys. We got to go through edges first, and then we're going to go through the draft pretty quickly today. We still have still have 2 more full drafts to give you guys. So, this ain't the end of it. I also had this weird premonition. Why does this feel like a player the Jets could feasibly pick higher than expected?
Didn't they just draft a defensive tackle?
Don't you need 2 of them? And isn't the coach Robert Saleh? And doesn't their defense still kind of stink?
But don't we have to talk about the edge rushers that are going to be in there and much more likely?
I know. But there are options.
Also, Robert Saleh, wasn't he on the 49ers when they threw away DeForest Buckner?
And gave up way too much to get Javon Kinlaw.
And who remembers Kinlaw, everybody?
Yeah. Who remembers how high the Niners were on Kinlaw to take him in the mid-round?
Why is DeForest Buckner still a cult, John?
Him and Darius Leonard. Babe, wake up. DeForest Buckner is still a cult. Again with this? Another one? Davis is interesting. We get it. He's big. He's fast. He's crazy at 341. This isn't Vita.
It's my favorite.
This isn't Vita Vea.
Yeah.
It's not Vita Vea. This is why I think we put Wyatt at 2. And maybe we should put Wyatt at 1.
In our hearts, in my heart, Devontae Wyatt's my favorite out of the defensive tackles.
I kind of agree.
Yeah.
Because here's what we wrote in the analysis. Wyatt appears to be the best DT Georgia had this year.
His team played worse when he wasn't on the field.
Way worse. And that's a trait we're noticing. We didn't notice a whole lot. We haven't done Nakobe Dean in depth yet, so we can't be sure on him yet. But we have to look at Georgia and realize they had 4 elite defensive players and Lewis Cine. And
don't forget the corner that's falling.
A corner did not make the entire defense. So I can't, it's a front 7 player that can help make a defense either great or okay. Devontae Wyatt, Jordan Davis, and Trayvon Walker, who we're going to talk about on the edge side of this episode, all played very high levels of football, and they all rotated out of the lineup at times. Georgia was incredibly deep. So you have to understand where we're coming from. We have to look at this from the perspective of one of them is not good. What we have to make the hypothesis, not good. That's actually wrong to say. One of them is not as good as the other 2.
What was the Clemson defensive line that we had the same problem with? All of them were drafted.
Yeah.
It was Clean Farrell.
Farrell, Jeffrey Simmons, the guy that plays for Tennessee. I think he was in that.
From the Giants too, right?
God, you're right. I forgot about that. Let's pull that up. Was Jeffrey Simmons even Clemson? What year was that?
I'm looking it up.
God, that's a great. I wish I had thought of that a couple days ago.
2019 NFL draft.
All right, so 2019 Clemson defense. That's 20. That's
so
19.
I got Clean Farrell to the Raiders. Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle to the Miami
Wilkins
Dolphins.
is who I was thinking of, not Simmons.
Trayvon Mullen to the Raiders. Wow, this is becoming eerily similar.
Right. Where's the linebacker? That wasn't Isaiah Simmons' year, was it?
Was it?
I don't think so. No, it couldn't have been because they took Kyler that year. So the
Dexter
Cardinals
Lawrence, defensive tackle for the Giants.
Lawrence.
So we got 2 DTs and an edge rusher.
Okay, so just name the guys you just named. Those 4. Those 4.
We got Clean Farrell, defensive.
Bust.
Yeah. We've got Christian Wilkins to Miami.
Okay, not bad.
Dexter Lawrence to the Giants.
He's pretty good.
And Trayvon Mullen.
Okay. So here's what we learned. When you got 4 good, I will tell you just straight up, I think these 4 guys are better than those 4 guys.
Yeah, probably.
I think the worst player on these 4 guys is Lewis Cine, and I think he might be better than the worst guy that's turned out to be Cleveland Farrell. But if you were to take the top three, keep the corners out of it.
The other edge rusher, by the way, was Austin Bryant. He was a 4th-round pick.
Okay. So let's just from the perspective of the front 7. Okay. Let's leave Mullen and Sign out of it. These 3 Georgia players are all better.
Yeah.
Than the 3 Georgia linemen, excluding Dean. The 3 Georgia tackles and edge are all better than the 3 at Clemson.
There was no Clemson linebacker, but knowing my Raiders history, it might have been Tanner Muse.
Wasn't he a tight end?
No, he played linebacker for Clemson, right? Linebacker safety hybrid, didn't he? Tanner Muse. I mean, he played.
He was a linebacker. Who did I think was a tight end? Didn't you have a tight end that you drafted kind of early that you cut?
No, the tight ends that I've drafted are Foster Moreau, who's still on the team, and
whatever. I had a stroke. Let's move on. So that's your scenario. That's the situation right now. We have to find the player on Georgia that is what we feel is the fulcrum for the defense. For Clemson, it seemed to be Dexter Lawrence to some degree. He's not exactly a superstar, but he's not bad. Now, we think between Wyatt and Davis, we think it's Wyatt.
But we don't think the fulcrum is found on the defensive tackles. Hint,
we
hint.
don't.
Yeah.
We don't.
So let's finish on Devontae Wyatt. Devontae Wyatt's a very intelligent football player, and he's exceptional at pursuit. I've seen this man create fumbles, and it was pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah.
Davis,
including one chase down punch out of Bryce Young.
Davis tested faster. Davis is probably more athletic. He's going to go first because of the combine, in my opinion.
Yeah, he will.
But Devontae Wyatt, throughout this entire process, is going to end up being my favorite defensive tackle, and I would take him.
Needless to say, Devontae Wyatt is our true number 1 DT in this class.
Yeah.
Devontae Wyatt is our 1, and Davis is our 2. We understand Davis will likely go before Wyatt. We get it. We don't care.
But also the difference is pretty thin. And Jordan Davis has more potential if you just look at the combine.
You know what? He's not thin. He's just not massive.
No, I'm saying the difference is thin.
Okay. Yeah, it is. But the reality is a defense is a unit. You have to fit the right pieces in the right spots. So if this doesn't work out, if the Georgia tackles, first of all, the only surprising thing is if both tackles end up being non-factors in this league.
Mm-hmm.
That would be surprising. But we view Wyatt as more of a fulcrum. When Wyatt was off the field, the Georgia defense was visibly worse. Not bad. They were still very good, but they were visibly not as good.
Now let's bring you 9 edge rushers.
Ooh, doggy. We're going to rattle these off relatively fast. The first
7, the first 6, you know these people. You know the first 6 edge rushers.
Yeah, the top 6, maybe even top 7 players that we're going to mention are
first round picks.
Are household names, and you know who they are.
So let's start from the second round.
Okay, so I know we numbered them funny because of number 4 and number 2. Should I say number 9 or number 10?
Number 9.
Number 9.
Nick Bonito from Oklahoma, 6'3", 248, is projected to go in the second round. We see a linebacker.
Yeah, this is a weird one. This is the last one we did last night. We're like, this guy's an edge rusher? We were watching it. We're like, did we start on linebacker by accident? This is an absolute tweener player. Oh. Absolutely. And every time we watch a tweener, we think of Isaiah Simmons. I think Isaiah Simmons was a much better prospect. But the one thing about him, we mentioned it a few minutes ago with Georgia, we're looking for a guy that changes his defense when he's on the field. The Oklahoma defense was absolutely better with Bonito on it.
Yeah.
When he was on the field, the defense looked a lot better. He can be neutralized by a big lineman. Using him as a linebacker may become his position.
Not only a linebacker, but as a QB spy, which he did a lot of.
Yeah, he did a lot of spying. I would not use him as a hand down lineman ever. I almost would never do it. He's talented, but he's clearly better with his hands up than down.
So what you see is like a kind of a small role, actually, and that might push him down draft boards.
It could. It's weird because he's not a true pass rusher. He has to be taken by a team that views him as a linebacker, definitely an outside linebacker. But I could still see him in the second round. But considering the inconsistent nature of anyone's predictions this year, because it's an unbelievably odd year in this draft, if you get him in the third, you'd be really happy.
If your division has multiple quarterbacks that are known as like move mid type guys, they're going to do a lot of running around. Like let's look at the AFC North, right? You got Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson now, Joe Burrow, and I mean, hell, even Mitchell Trubisky likes to use his legs. So all four of those quarterbacks like to use their legs as part of their game. And this is a guy that has so much experience taking that away from quarterbacks.
Yep.
That I could see that division just particularly rate him much higher than an average NFL team.
Sure.
He does get neutralized by bigger, stronger linemen, which kind of goes in play with the whole, we kind of see him more as a linebacker than the edge rusher.
Right.
I like him. He's active. He's aggressive. He knows what he's supposed to do, and he executes it. And there's really not much more you can ask for from a player.
Right.
Let's move on.
Number 8?
Yeah.
Number 8.
Number 8? Boye Mafe from Minnesota. 6'4", 261. Projected to go late in the 1, but before a couple of weeks ago, he was a second-round pick.
Yeah, he's staying there for us.
Yeah. Boye Mafe is a developmental prospect because you can run on this man. There are significant gaps to his play, but there is a lot of flash, and there's a lot of flash there to kind of push him into the first round. If you're a team that thinks you can get the most out of him, if we were picking like the reason he's the worst rated true edge for us is because you will need to bring out his best play. Like you will need to bring out that potential and give him a quality coaching staff, because if you don't succeed in that, then you might have drafted a bust.
Yeah, you may have drafted a bust. He's got a lot of athleticism. He's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot of gas. You can absolutely run the ball on him, and he can't stop you. We did not see him address the run well once. Was this the guy that consistently pinched, or was that somebody else? We did not write it down.
I think it was somebody else. Yeah.
Okay. He's a weird player.
It was Walker.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it really? Oh yeah, it was. Yes, it was. We did write that down. Okay. Continuing. Boye Mafe has got gifts. He's got energy. He's got attitude. He does not have the ability to stop a running back. So, work him. We saw him projected late 1 in certain drafts. Do not do that. You don't need that. What the hell is the matter with you?
Trade back.
Trade out. If you're like, I want to take Boye Mafe at 27. No, trade out. You don't want to do that. Does it anyway. All right, well.
Not my problem.
Good for you.
I don't have to take early second or third round picks in
Good
my
for
first
you.
round anymore.
C-. Good for you. C-. Not a D because the player still has upside. But C-.
Let's move on from one developmental player to
Number 7.
Arnold.
Let me say it.
Epiketti.
Oh, you're actually right.
Yeah.
Arnold Epiketti.
Arnold Epiketti. You want to see flashes? There's flashes here too.
Golly.
He's projected to go late 1 or 2. Again, we're going to mention why later on, but there's a reason pass rushers are moving up right now.
Yep.
There's flashes here, but he's a second round pass rusher. You would love to have him in the second round.
So there's one just massive knock I have to place. And yes, I'm going to knock a Penn State player. My God, can you just get off the ball faster? Jesus God.
It was
like
bad.
So slow.
Yeah.
Like so slow.
Yeah.
Like a second or like more. It was very strange.
There was one play where he was obviously watching his offensive lineman in front of him and not the ball being hiked. But both him and the offensive lineman stayed still while the play kept on going for a good 2 seconds. Like a solid 2 seconds. These two people were just standing there.
Yeah, I don't understand what was missing or what was lacking there. Just not getting there. Just not hearing hike, not seeing the ball snap. I don't know.
Let's move on to the first rounders.
Let's do it with number 6. Is that what we're doing? 6? Yeah, 6. Number 6.
This might be a little surprising because a lot of people have him higher.
Yeah.
But Jermaine Johnson, the second from Florida State, is a mid to late 1 for us. Not a mid 1 where he's likely to go.
We like him at the back end.
This is a potential player. We said that a lot, actually, but this is a real.
This ceiling's much, much higher.
Yeah, he's the most raw out of the edge players, but he's got a
other than Boye Mafe. Other than Mafe, Mafe's raw. Mafe is uncooked steak completely. Mafe is uncooked steak. Jermaine Johnson just incredibly rare. You've at least put it on the grill.
Something you notice immediately when you just look at him: long arms, really long arms. And he does like to use them, actually, to try to hit the quarterback. Run defense needs some work, but maybe it's because he didn't care about it. Obviously, pass rusher is going to focus on pass rushing. There's great straight line movement here. Not a good spin move. Not a good one at all. You need to find a new move, dude.
No, pretty lacking, actually.
If a team has multiple firsts, like the Giants or the Jets, you could probably see him going earlier. About where the draft boards are taking him. But right now, this is just a ball of potential with some great athletic traits, and he's getting there. He's a little bit developmental, but he's not at the point where you need to slap a developmental tag. He will start for you from day 1, but you do need to work on it.
Yeah, here's the funny thing is I think any team, if you have duplicate pick, if you have more than one pick in this draft, Jets, Giants, Eagles, Chiefs. I think there's others.
Packers.
Houston has got 2.
Houston now, yeah.
Houston, Packers. If you've got more than one pick in the first round, you have to consider this player.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could take one of your picks and use them on a sure thing and use your second pick on if you missed out on the top crop of DNs, the Hutchinsons, the blankety-blanketies. I just say the name Hutchinson because let's be real, we all know who we're going to talk about later. Jermaine Johnson is it's a project, but it's more of a project. Like it's not a blank canvas. The outline's already drawn. You just got to fill in the gaps.
He's kind of a perfect fit for the Jets, isn't he?
He's a good fit for the Jets. I just don't like him at 9?
10. It's 10.
Oh, 10. I don't like him at 10. It is a good fit for the Jets.
Robert Saleh taking him at 10 because the Jets aren't competing this year.
Yeah, Kinlaw.
This guy needs a year. So you're probably going to hit his developmental peak when you're assuming to be contending because Zach Wilson.
I could see Jermaine Johnson as a guy. I'm going to mention Brandon Graham twice in this episode. I could see Jermaine Johnson like a Brandon Graham where it took him a little while to get going. Not as long as Graham. It took Graham 3 years before he started actually playing good football. I could see Johnson having a first year that is relatively disappointing, actually. And then having players be like fans and whatnot being like, oof, not a good pick. And then he comes out the next year and hits a double-digit sack number. I could see that. it's interesting, and that should be a nice little Easter egg for you guys listening to tell you we like this edge class.
Oh yeah,
because if this guy's number 6, and we don't have that much bad to say about him, other than like, okay, he needs some work. He's mid to late 1 instead of early 1 because we like the other 5 better, not because this guy's no good, but because there are other players, and not everybody. There's not 30 teams that are all going to pick pass rusher in the first round. If that were true, he might go 6th.
Now let's put our foot down with the next guy.
Oh yeah, number 5.
This is John's baby.
He's not my baby, but I refuse to listen to any further disrespect about George Karlaftis out of Purdue.
Let me give you your setup. Okay,
do it.
George Karlaftis out of Purdue has been falling in NFL consensus mock drafts. He's 6'4", 266. He's currently seen as a late 1, but the way he's falling, you'd think he's a 2 at this point. We grade him as a mid 1. And the very notion that he's falling this far is disrespectful. John, tell me why it's disrespectful.
Yeah, the absolute latest this man should go is number 20. The absolute latest. Because Philly picks 3 times, and there is no reason he shouldn't be one of the 3. We do not see him as a guy with a lot of gaps in his play. He covers the run well enough. He's a much better pass rusher. We do not understand why the league is just overlooking this player. This is not another player that was born in, not domestically, like a Bjorn Werner and just busts. It's not that guy. Bjorn Werner stunk, we know, but move on from it. This guy's done nothing but be good. Not the numbers don't listen. I'm not going to pretend like he's got a million sacks. He's got 14 in his career. Okay. One of those years was COVID. This year, I think it was 6? When your defense... 7, right? It was 6 or 7.
Yeah.
When you are the only elite player on a defense, they're going to slide 2 to cover you every time. And we saw it on tape. He consistently saw double teams. Now, he's not perfect, so let's give him a couple knocks. While we like where he is now, Jermaine Johnson has more potential. His ceiling is higher.
Right, it's not close.
Johnson's ceiling is higher than Karlaftis. That's fine. But the complaints thus far have really not been that fair. The biggest knock that we've heard was that his arms are too short and that he couldn't get around anybody in the Ohio State game. So we made sure to watch Ohio State. Okay, yeah, Ohio State, he struggled. He struggled against Ohio State with double teams. When you play a defense without a ton of support, you can be washed out, and he was in that game. The arm length issue, to me, is a complete joke because I have seen, again, this will be the last time I mentioned Brandon Graham, they are longer arms than Brandon Graham. He is taller than Brandon Graham. He has the same weight as Brandon Graham. He is faster than Brandon Graham. I will not hear any further George Karlaftis disrespect when I can compare him to an all-pro at every measurable and say that he's better than him at it. It's that simple. If we're going to complain about arm length, I'm going to compare him to a guy who also had to complain about arm length. It worked for Graham. This is disgusting. I hate you people.
Now,
that said, there are 4 edge rushers better than him. There are, but I'm not going to, he's not a second round pick. I'm not saying take him 10 or even 15, but he's got to be in this first round. Gregory Rousseau almost missed the first last year, and I thought it was disrespectful. This would be more criminal for me if he misses the first round. That's silly. Whoever gets him at 33rd overall, who picks 33rd? Is it still Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Or Detroit, one of them? Be happy. Take him. You're going to love it. If it's Jacksonville, they go Hutchinson and Karlaftis. Oh, oh Lordy. That'd be fun. Anything else on Karlaftis?
This just feels like a player that the community is overthinking.
Yeah. Anyway,
moving on.
Number 4.
And 2. Let's do it now.
No. We're on number 4 is what we listed as 5.
Oh my.
because that's why you said 9. I was going to go to 10.
Oh my.
Guys, it's really 10. So number 5.
Trayvon Walker, Georgia. 6'5", 272. Projected to go in the top 10. He's been rising.
No.
But remember how we said that Georgia defense had to have a fulcrum?
Yeah.
We found it.
We think it's him.
It's him. His play recognition is best in the class, probably.
It feels that way, with the exception of potentially
Hutchinson.
1.
But he is the most versatile by far of all the edge players and of all the players we talked about today.
Now, here's the interesting thing with him. He's a run stuffer.
Oh, yeah.
He likes to play the run, which is odd for a modern edge rusher. He also does something that we're going to mention with somebody else shortly.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, this guy does it a lot better. Walker will drop into coverage.
Yeah.
And he can. He can hold his own back there. He's made some very athletic plays in coverage. There's one thing I'd like to change. He likes to rush inside. He doesn't love to go outside. In fact, I can't point to a part of his tape where he went outside and won.
Now, this might be a scheme thing, but quite literally 95%, it was a cut
Constant
inside.
Pinching
And
toward the center.
if he does go outside, it's a stunt move. Did you know? Like, he would start on one side of the line, and it was a stunt where he would run to the other side, run around that tackle. And honestly, he had the speed to get there. He does have the speed to get there. But that's not what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah. The thing with Trayvon Walker's tape is it's funny. It takes you got to watch a lot of tape to respect what Trayvon Walker does, which is why I think a lot of the professionals are rating him as highly as they are, and probably even higher. Some of them way higher than us. There are rumblings that Walker could go number 1. Now, don't do that. That's not the right play, Jacksonville. That is not the right play. There is a perennial superhuman in this edge class. His name is Aiden Hutchinson. It is not Trayvon Walker. Do not overthink this. It should not be this difficult. Do not do the Reggie Bush, Mario Williams thing just with the same position. It's just not ideal. Detroit is really hoping you do.
Yeah.
They're really hoping you do. If Detroit gets that, they win the draft.
No, we don't see a top 5 player here. We do see intangibles, and we do see traits that we can see why teams are pushing him up.
I see a guy that can become a top 5 player.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot of flashy plays on his tape, but there was, I don't know how to say more than he was just the asset for this team. Like, he was great.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We like him, but not as a top 5 pick.
No, I don't see a top 5 player. I just shot water all over my table.
All right. Well, at number 4, number 4.
No, number 4.
We have David Ojabo from Michigan. Injured David Ojabo.
Yeah, this is what happens to David Ojabo post-injury.
Yeah.
He goes to number 4. David Ojabo is an incredibly high-quality player that is potentially slipping. He's 6'4", 250. He's potentially slipping into the second due to his injury.
If he slips more, you're going crazy.
Yeah, here's the thing. Tina and I have been very clear. I think we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago when he first got hurt, but we'll say it again. He should still be a first-round pick.
Yeah.
He very obviously should still be a first-round pick. He's an incredibly high-quality player. The fact that he will fall due to the injury is a damn shame, but by virtue of the way the NFL works, he probably will.
Like how Devontae Wyatt was my favorite defensive tackle, Ojabo is actually my favorite edge rusher. No, not for you.
No. The answer, listen, all roads go through Aiden Hutchinson.
Understandably.
So I can't even go with a hot take and be like, there might be a better player than Hutchinson. Like, nobody actually thinks that. So for what it's worth, there could be a better player than Hutchinson in this draft. Could be. Happens all the time. But nobody actually thinks it right now. And that's the reality of the situation. I don't want to say it that way, but it does seem to be the case.
Now, what's crazy about Ojabo is he's actually an emerging player. He's only played 20 games in college.
620 snaps.
He's not played a lot, and yet the talent has already shown. And he's developing and emerging. It really sucks that
there's a lot of polish. I know I just moved the camera, but sorry. There's a lot of polish for a player that has not seen that much of the field. It's kind of surprising how much polish he has with how little time on the field he has spent. Sirens.
That one I hear, yeah.
Sirens everywhere.
Anyways,
Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen.
We're gonna mention him again, but this is about where we have him ranked post injury. I mean, Cam Akers came back from an Achilles.
Cam Akers came back in 5 minutes. Why can't Ojabo? It can happen.
So let's move on.
Number 3,
we have Kayvon Thibodeaux.
I'm sure everybody right now is confused as hell who number 2 is, by the way, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious.
6'4", 254.
Everyone right now is like looking at the boards like, who the hell could they have put at number 2?
He's projected as a top half of the first round player. We gave him a top 10 grade on the field. One thing that needs to be mentioned when watching Thibodeaux tape.
Oh my God.
Who the hell was Oregon's DC?
Oh my God. Why is he ever in coverage? Ever. Don't do it. Like, what are you doing? Even the commentators are like, what? What are you like? We're watching it happen without the sound for a minute. We're like, wait a minute. Why is he? Why are you doing that? He's a straight line edge rusher. Why are you doing that? We get it. He's athletic. He probably can, if taught, do it. But no, don't do that. You're not smart. You're not outsmarting anyone. You're just dumbing it down. You're giving the quarterback time. Do not put him in coverage. Why was this even a thing? Someone walked into a meeting and was like, that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to teach Kayvon Thibodeaux to play linebacker.
I don't think there's a player that we saw that was used more incorrectly.
In the entirety of our scouting, I don't think a single player was used more wrong.
The thing is, he's not Hutchinson. He's not that good of a run stuffer, but there is talent here. It's mostly the red flags that you get from effort. But I mean, was there low effort because he couldn't believe what he was being asked to do?
The thing is, Ebtine made a great point about it. He seems to play to the occasion.
He does.
Where he plays up to competition, but he also plays down to competition.
Yeah.
So if you can keep him at that up, there's no one in this league that can stop him because it means he can outdo anybody. He just has to get there. And with the right coaching, with the right scenario, that can happen. We can't scout him based on any of the reporting about his meetings or his interaction. We can't do that.
We don't know they're not good.
We've heard they're not ideal, but we don't know that.
And because of it, he's likely to fall to maybe like 8, 9, or 10, maybe even a little bit more.
Oh, man, what a fall.
Yeah.
8, 9, or 10.
I mean, he was considered a number 1 overall pick last year.
Yeah, he was considered that before the dawn of Hutchinson.
Yeah.
I'm curious, by the way. I don't know if we could find it. Maybe we'll find it off camera.
Of what Hutchinson was rated before.
Of what Hutchinson was this time last year.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Speaking of Hutchinson, our number 2 overall player in this big board class.
Yeah, hold on. Number 2. Everybody, I'm going to give you 5 seconds of dead air to think about who this could possibly be. 3, 2, 1. Number 2.
David Ojabo.
Yeah, it's David Ojabo again. What? This is pre-injury David Ojabo. If not for the Achilles, Ojabo would be number 2 on this list. It's that simple. The injury, all in our eyes it did was put him below Thibodeaux. That's all it did. Oh no, you went behind the former consensus number 1 overall pick. You're fine. There's worse drops that you can have. David Ajabo is a fantastic player.
The crazy thing about Ajabo, right? Let's talk about him before his injury.
Yeah.
People have Jermaine Johnson rated highly that's because they see his potential. Ajabo was emerging, and he has the same amount of potential.
David Ajabo this is a bad comp, but he got the Sidney Jones deal where he went to his pro day as a top 10 pick and got hurt. Sidney Jones fell to the second and busted. So here's hoping something different happens for Ajabo. Let's remember Jalen Smith, the Notre Dame linebacker.
Yeah.
Came out of Notre Dame. He was an amazing talent. He was like a bowl game away from coming to the combine in the offseason and the draft. Destroys his knee and plays for the Cowboys. I think he Pro Bowled once. Now the future of his career is rocky. There's not much left to do there because the Cowboys have moved on from him and he's just not as viable. I think he went to the Packers and then the Giants or other way around, something like that. But David Ajabo is a player that I would absolutely still take if I were picking like 12. Like I would still do it. I don't care. I know he's hurt. I know he'll be healthy at some point. Why not? Why not?
Yeah. Ajabo, before, like, I understand he was an emerging prospect, so you would think boom or bust. But he seemed like a pretty safe pick to me. Now he's a boom or bust pick.
Right.
So to his running mate.
Number one, Aidan Hutchinson.
Aidan Hutchinson. What do we need to say?
What do you want?
We're done. Moving on to the draft.
There's nothing to say about Hutchinson. We got it. We watched it. We went into this thinking like, okay, well, who knows, right? You could obviously watch tape. Something comes up, and maybe Hutchinson isn't that good a player. No, he's amazing. He's actually amazing.
6'7", 260, projected to be number one overall.
6'7".
The grade, number one overall.
Yeah, that's the best player in this draft. It is clear he is the best player in this draft.
Here's your transition to our brand new mock draft.
Beautiful. And we're going to rattle this quickly. We got places to be. Where is it? Is this second mock?
Yeah.
Hey! I found it.
So number one overall, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Aidan Hutchinson.
Now, here's the funny thing. I want to make sure I make this point. We wrote, if Trayvon Walker goes number one, we quit the show. Not really. We're not quitting anything. But what? No, you
all quit.
We're not quitting. Nobody's quitting anything. But
the Jaguars have murdered me.
Aidan Hutchinson's tape almost showed me enough to where I also would have tagged Cam Robinson.
Oh, no.
That's how good he is. I know I need an O-line. I know Evan Neal and Ekwonu are right there. Aidan Hutchinson is unbelievable. I have to take him. That's the best player in this draft. Number 2, Detroit.
Malik Willis, Liberty quarterback.
We're going quarterback this time. Willis is seeing a atmospheric rise in this draft.
It bears being said. Detroit's kind of lining this up for a quarterback pick.
Yeah.
Because you have Goff. You brought in some wide receiver talent. You've already drafted Penny Sewell. You're not getting Aidan Hutchinson. Everything is kind of lining up for this to be a quarterback. And we think they like Malik Willis more than anyone else.
Seems to be the case across the league.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of teams that love Willis. A lot of teams. Well, Detroit gets first shot and they need him. Period. It's that simple. Number 3, Houston goes. You wrote edge here, but that's not his position. Evan Neal. Evan Neal is an offensive lineman. Edge offense. Yeah, he's our top tackle in this draft. Houston could use another one. Titus Howard got bumped inside to play guard. You could use another. Laramie Tunsil is one of the weirdest contracts in the NFL because he is not as good as his money, but they traded a ton to get him. So I don't know. Evan Neal.
Now, the way this worked out is Houston's running with Davis Mills. If Davis Mills is the guy, here's your tackle. Davis Mills isn't the guy, here's the next guy's tackle. This is the right pick. Moving on.
Number 4, the New York Jets select
Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, Ahmad Gardner, top corner in this draft out of Cincinnati. Got to add sauce.
There's rumors that the CBs are going early and they're moving up, and the Jets and the Giants are the ones that are looking out for them. Well, if that's true, the Jets need to take him at 4, and he's worth it. Great corner.
Yeah, if the Giants and Jets are both making that chase, Jets have to do it now or they are going to get hosed. They will get snaked. Number 5, the New York Giants select Ike Ekwonu, the other offensive tackle. This one out of North Carolina State. Our entire note is simple. The Giants have made a comedy of errors in the first round over the past few years. Let's get one right.
Yeah.
This is the right pick.
Number 6, the Carolina Panthers will select Kenny Pickett to save Matt Rule's job.
Yeah, Matt Rule is on the hottest of hot seats. This stinks of a quarterback. It's what Nagy did last year. The Bears needed one, but it's what Nagy did last year. He drafted a quarterback to try to save his job. This stinks of a quarterback. Matt Rule is coaching for one season. He's going to draft Pickett, and Pickett is going to start week 1. That has to happen.
And this decision is also made easier by the fact that both Evan Neal and Ike are off the board.
Right. Number 7, New York Giants select edge rusher Travon Walker. Yes, we recognize we're putting Walker over the guys we have ranked higher than him. Shut up. This is based on what we've heard. This is a great pick for the Giants. It is more boom or bust than Ike. Ike is as close to a sure thing on the O-line as you could ask for. The only thing closer would be Evan Neal, in my eyes. Although I will tell you straight up, Ike Ekwonu is absolutely the type of player that can become the best tackle in this draft and leave Neal in dust. It does feel like it's like Tunzel and Stanley. Stanley became way better. So, although he's hurt, but he became way better. Walker is a good fit for the Giants. They need leadership on that defense, and they need edge rushing to go along with the find of last year's draft, Azeez Ojulari. We loved him. He hit well with the Giants. Good for them. I still hate them, but they have Daniel Jones, so I more so just laugh. Travon Walker doesn't fix that problem, so I'm okay with this. Pick number 8, you got Atlanta, Ebteen.
Garrett Wilson, the first wide receiver, comes off the board. You're not getting one of the top tackles. You didn't get one of the top edge rushers. You are a tanking team. You are looking at a rebuild. You've lost Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones. You even lost Russell Gage. Go get yourself a wide receiver.
When the best receiver on your team is probably Olamide Zaccheaus, you need another one.
Yeah.
That's simple. Pick number 9, Seattle. We could have picked them a 3rd-round projected running back, but instead we're picking Kayvon Thibodeau, the edge rusher out of Oregon. That smells right.
This feels right.
This feels correct.
Yeah. I think that's all we really need to say about it.
Yeah. We wanted to draft them Breece Hall.
Yeah.
The running back out of Iowa State. But no, we're going to go with Thibodeau. They need pass rush. They like drafting athletic and physical specimens. Thibodeau fits that bill. He's also in the area. He's in Oregon and they're in Washington. So I don't know. That's just an add-on. That has nothing to do with the selection. Both teams have weird greens in their color. I don't know. But yeah, Thibodeau feels like a Seahawk to me. And he feels like a guy that would become a Pro Bowler for the Seahawks. More so than he would become for a Pro Bowler for another team. This feels like a Seahawk.
Number 10, the New York Jets select Drake London, wide receiver out of USC.
Yeah, we don't like it, but it's what we're hearing.
You miss on Tyreek Hill, go get a wide receiver. This seems pretty predestined to happen, that the Jets will go a wide receiver.
Yeah, we just had to pick whichever one. Wilson was gone. We figured, screw it, take a big one. Number 11 is Washington. Washington is selecting Charles Cross, the offensive tackle out of Texas A&M. Originally, we had this slotted for Kyle Hamilton. You're probably wondering where the hell he falls. We will get to him. But Washington, most years, goes best player available. Washington has to do something different this year, though, because they lost Brandon Scherf and the O-line already wasn't that good. You need to invest in it. You have to protect, checks notes, Carson Wentz. And maybe they don't want an alignment. Maybe they just want to get him killed.
This is for Wentz's replacement.
Yeah, this is for the future. Charles Cross, I said it when I did the analysis for the O-lineman. If any O-lineman is going to outplay and be better than Evan Neal and Ike Ekwonu, I think Charles Cross is the best shot at it. So he's going here 11 to Washington. Let's go to 12.
12, the Minnesota Vikings will select Jermaine Johnson II, edge rusher out of Florida State. There's a lot of like smoke going on that not only that the Vikings are looking at edge rushers because they are, but that they're ready to move on from some of their old guard. This is a young guy with potential. Minnesota is kind of on the cusp of competing. They're very happy that they're in the NFC.
Yep.
But in a couple of years from now, this pick will look better probably than where he was drafted.
Yeah. Number 13, I promised you Kyle Hamilton, and I will give you Kyle Hamilton at 13 to Houston.
What a fall.
What a fall. What a fall. Apparently his 40 time is killing him.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. That happens.
Also, it's a position that's not valued that well in the NFL.
I think Houston is feasting in this draft right now. They got Evan Neal at 3, a spot where we initially slotted them, Kyle Hamilton, and they get him anyway.
Yep.
This is great news for Houston. Mm-hmm. This is the way to jumpstart your rebuild. This is the way to do it. They got 14 is Baltimore.
Jordan Davis to replace Calais Campbell.
The big man.
This seems like an easy fit.
Yeah, it's a good fit. It's a good fit. I think we said that about 20 minutes ago too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do back-to-back Philly.
Okay.
15 and 16. Philly goes Devin Lloyd and Derek Stingley Jr. Cover the defense. It's bad. Fix it. Now, Howie, listen to me. Fix the defense. Devin Lloyd, best linebacker in the draft, probably. Who knows? Stay tuned.
We'll find out.
We'll find out in a week. We have not ranked him yet. Devin Lloyd is considered a top linebacking prospect. Derek Stingley Jr., we talked about him last week, might have been number 1 if not for injury. Mm-hmm. Eagles get to feast on both. They need a corner. They need a linebacker in a bad way. There's a lot of needs Philly needs. Philly needs a lot of things. I've made it pretty clear top to bottom, I think. The Eagles cannot screw up these picks. It's very difficult to screw them up because they need everything. So pick them. Just pick people.
At pick 17, the Los Angeles Chargers select Devontae Wyatt, defensive tackle out of Georgia. And there's one reason for that. You're in the AFC West. You've brought in Mack. You have Bosa. Put in a defensive tackle, and that defensive line is terrifying.
Yeah, if I'm the Chargers, I'm licking my chops right now, and I'm sprinting the card up if Wyatt is here at 17. I'm sprinting it up. We like Wyatt earlier than his general stock. There, like we said earlier, there are some people that are put him in the second round. We just disagree flat out. So we're going to keep him here at 17. At pick 18, I had a vested interest in this pick because of the player that we have New Orleans selecting. We have him taking Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. And I say I had a vested interest in it because I really want Penning at 20 to Pittsburgh. I really want that to happen because that feels like the best possible fit. Mm-hmm. That said, everything we're hearing is that New Orleans is very in on O-linemen.
You just lost Teron Armstead. You need to replace him.
You need a left tackle in a bad way.
Trevor Penning.
Penning's the best one there.
Philly's back on the clock. What do they do with it?
We're taking Chris Olave, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. Every report has said the Ohio State wide receivers are going to go earlier than people think.
The board did not fall that way this time.
The board did not fall that way this time. I mean, listen, Wilson went 8th. Mm-hmm. That's early. But Olave going to 19. If Olave's there at 19 and the Eagles don't take him, I'm confused. Or, you know what? I'll say it this way. You can take Olave or you can take Williams here at 19. It should be a wideout, though. They just got beat for Devontae Parker again. The Eagles are clearly not trading for a wideout right now. They're not doing it. So what are you going to do? Go into next season with Devontae Smith and a bag of potatoes? Not working.
Pittsburgh at pick 20 responds with Tyler Smith, offensive tackle. You need a tackle badly.
This guy's one of the fastest climbers.
Yeah.
In this class. He is just shooting up boards.
He was a second rounder. Now he's a first rounder and in the top 20 of the NFL draft.
It would be very surprising if he has climbed so far that it would actually be shocking at this point that if he was not a first round pick.
Yeah. So let's take a look.
Number 21.
New England just got a wide receiver.
And we think they take another one.
Oh, yeah.
Jameson Williams.
You have a lot of wide receiver 2s and 3s out there. You don't have a wide receiver 1. Here comes Jameson Williams.
Yeah, there's a lot of assets that they've locked into the wide receiver position. The Devontae Parker trade doesn't change this for me. I think Jameson Williams is still a very real option for the Patriots at 21. It reunites Mac Jones with one of his best weapons as well. Number 22 is Green Bay, and Green Bay has a lot of things they could do here. First of all, if this was Vegas, I think the pick should have been like, I don't know, like a Zion Johnson. If this was the Raiders, right? Because you need a guard.
Okay.
For the Packers, though, it's still Zion Johnson.
Yeah.
If
you notice, the first interior offensive lineman has come off the board, and it's not Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah, the thinking at this point for me is that Tyler Linderbaum is a center, and he's being viewed completely as a center. So his window of teams does shrink when you're a designated center. That said, he's still in this first round because I dare anybody to wait. If 32 teams let him slip to pick 33, I will come for all of you. No, I won't. But still, it's just you have to keep. He's so good. What is wrong with you people? I don't care. His arms are short. Shut up. This is the year of short arms.
Yeah, you have
everybody but Jermaine Johnson. Everybody has short arms, and Kenny Pickett's got tiny hands, and that's it. That's all we're worried about now. Tiny hands and short arms. Jermaine Johnson's a beast, though. Why doesn't he go number 1?
All right, Arizona.
Zion Johnson. You can tell I'm mad.
Arizona at pick 23 will select Trent McDuffie. They need a corner. This is probably the last of the first round guarantees.
Yeah, Andrew Booth has got some injury stuff going on right now, so he's actually falling a little bit. Not a ton, but he's falling enough to where we have to keep him out of this round.
Yeah.
At least for now, until we hear differently. Dallas at number 24 selects George Karlaftis. Moving on. I'm mad about it. I'm not happy
Dexter
that's
Lawrence, not happy. You
DeMarcus
just
Lawrence.
Randy Gregory. George Karlaftis makes sense here. Go for him.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I hate it, but it's a good pick.
Buffalo at pick 25 selects Nakobe Dean, linebacker out of Georgia.
This is a pattern.
Yeah.
We're going off of Buffalo's pattern. Ed Oliver was not a top 5 pick. Buffalo took him to stop his fall. Gregory Rousseau was not a top 10 pick. Buffalo took him to stop his fall. Nakobe Dean, in a normal year, would probably be graded top 15.
Yeah.
He's not going to go top 15.
And it's all because of a couple of inches.
It's all because he's 5'11". Buffalo stops his fall. We think there's a pattern. And if that's the case, Buffalo just keeps getting richer.
Now here's the best pick of the round, John.
Let's take some shots, everybody.
Shots.
At pick number 26, Tennessee Titans select quarterback Matt Corral.
Ryan Tannehill is flabbergasted. He's pissed off. He's on the Pat McAfee show talking about stuff that doesn't concern him. Matt Corral, Ole Miss quarterback to the Tennessee Titans. I think we've seen Tannehill's ceiling in Tennessee. I think we've seen the premonitions of a bitter end, and I think Tennessee takes a quarterback.
I think Tannehill's got one more season under contract, and then Tennessee just finds a way to get the hell out from under it.
Yeah.
Because it's Tennessee, you are wasting your best player. And when your best player is a running back, the clock ticks faster. You have to capitalize. Tennessee should have been able to capitalize this past year, but no, the Bengals stopped you. At pick number 27, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Kenyon Green, guard. I actually like this guard better than Zion Johnson.
But Zion Johnson's moving up.
But Zion Johnson is moving up. And the fact that Tyler Smith is the top guy here, the problem is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need a guard right now more than they need a tackle. So they lost Marpet. They lost Kappa. They need to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Kappa goes to Cleveland. Marpet goes home. Who knows? Maybe Tom Brady's able to convince Marpet to come out of retirement.
I mean, Marpet's already said he's staying. He's not.
Yeah, he said he's done, and had nothing to do with Brady. And that's good for him. Great player, but good for him. So that's that. Tampa needs to reinforce it in a big way. 28.
Green Bay at pick 28 takes one of my favorite players in this draft.
One of both of ours.
Yeah. They finally address wide receiver, and they take Treylon Burks, Arkansas wide receiver, who is falling in this draft.
Treylon Burks screams early career Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Because of this fall.
Mm-hmm.
This fall screams early career Pro Bowler. Just like Drake London screams bust.
Yeah.
And it's the same volume. It is as loud. Speaking of wide receivers climbing like crazy.
Oh no.
Ebteen wrote an expletive next to these next two picks because it's Kansas City and they make
I'll do
very
both
good picks. Go ahead.
Kansas City. Chiefs.
Wait, you do both of these and I do the last two because I'm vested in 31 and 32 was me.
Okay. Kansas City Chiefs have just lost Tyreek Hill. So they draft Christian Watson, the rising first round wide receiver out of North Dakota.
Weird. It's weird. I'm still not convinced he's a first round pick, but everybody else seems to be. All right, fine.
And
I'll bite.
They end my life and David Ojabo's misery because they take him in the first round with that second first round pick.
Yeah, it's an A. That's just a good draft. Good for Kansas City. Really good for Kansas City. At pick number 31, the Bengals protect the boy with Tyler Linderbaum. I don't even know who the center is in Cincinnati.
Doesn't matter.
Could be a Pro Bowler. I don't care.
I don't think it was a Pro Bowler.
You know what? He was sacked about 1 million times in the playoffs. It wasn't anybody. It was barely a professional. Tyler Linderbaum. Protect the boy. All assets right now need to go into protecting the boy. It's very simple. Say it with me now. Protect the boy. Very easy stuff. Finally, pick 32.
The one trade.
Keep in mind, we did a trade here. Keep in mind, we were mostly doing a no trade mock.
Yeah.
But we had to here because Detroit's not going quarterback twice. Detroit trades out of this pick. And Pittsburgh comes up to select Desmond Ridder. Now, we've been mocking Pittsburgh with Carson Strong for a while. Mike Tomlin has been very clear that he is valuing mobility at the quarterback position. If there's one thing Carson Strong is not, it's mobile.
He's a statue.
He is a tree. So, Desmond Ridder, probably my favorite mobile quarterback in this draft, gets the call for that sweet 50-year option to trade back up for Pittsburgh to trade up. We put 4 QBs in this round, which brings me to the last point I think we want to make today. You're going to notice a lot of mock drafts on NFL.com right now that have no quarterbacks in the first round. In the history of the NFL draft since 1960, you can count on one hand the amount of times that has happened.
4 times.
It's happened 4 times.
It
was either 3, 4, or 5. I forget. But
okay, Bucky, 4 times.
You can count it on one hand. It has not happened at all since 96. It's not happening here. There are so many teams with bad quarterbacks. It's not happening here. Okay. Next week, we're going to bring you some linebackers.
Some would say the quarterbacks of the defense.
Which is why after that, we're going to bring you quarterbacks.
Of the offense.
Yes, because they're the quarterbacks. Then, just to give you guys an idea of what the next few episodes are, next week is linebackers. Next week's release is linebackers. Then we're going to do quarterbacks. And then we've got the draft of what Ebteen and I would do.
Mhm.
Now, what we're going to do in that episode is we're going to have some fun with that episode. Ebteen and I are going to flip a coin on the day to determine who gets odds and who gets evens. We can trade during that draft, but we are going to do that trade completely live.
Yeah, this is a live exercise.
Completely live. We are not coming in. We'll come in with notes, but we're not coming in with a finished board. We are filling the board in during the episode. It's all what we would do. It has nothing at all to do with any of the news we've heard. It's based on what we would draft. So we may trade. We may, flip a coin for decisions on who gets to go first versus second, things like that. There's no serpentine to this. We're not really, we could keep it for records and compare it in 2 years, but we're not gonna, there's no competition to this. It's just, we're gonna have some fun. And then after that, releasing the day before the NFL draft, we are going to have our final predictive first round mock draft, which is what we will measure our success rate on this season. After that, you're going to have another episode coming at you very quickly.
Yeah.
Thank you to the editor, Chris. We are going to record a reaction to the first round immediately at the end of the first round of the draft.
We may be hammered.
We might be completely trashed. We very well may be trashed. We've also considered, although I think we're not going to do it this way, we've also considered shooting that episode during the draft.
No, that's way too long.
The problem with that idea is that the draft episode would then become 4 hours.
At best.
At best. So I don't think we're going to do that. Not to mention the fact that Ebteen and I are going to be in the same room on draft night. And technologically, we haven't figured out how to make that work yet. So, admittedly, full disclosure, we have not figured out the technology of that yet. So we've got to bring you 4 episodes in the next 25 days.
18 days, right? 20, yeah.
Draft's 28.
Okay.
So by the 27th, everything we just set, except for the preview, the review, everything we will have discussed already. The linebackers, quarterbacks, fun draft, and predictive draft, those will all be out to you by the 27th, by the afternoon of the 27th. Give you time to listen to it all. You'll hear the predictive mock before the draft happens, probably about 24 hours before the draft happens. It'll be out that Wednesday sometime. And we're getting close, everybody. We're in April. We can smell it. It's going to be fun. You're coming over that day. We're going to watch draft day. And that's really unfortunate.
And then after the draft, look forward to the off season where episodes will be very loose.
More sporadic. Sporadic. We're going to be on less of a schedule. We'll shoot when we want to at that point. We still want to. Don't worry. We don't do this as a job. We do it for the love of the game.
But can you pay me?
It would be nice to be paid.
Yeah.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
Please.
Look at this white wall. There's nothing behind it.
Look at my white wall. There's nothing behind it.
Yeah.
Everything is sad. Everything is bad. But we have football. And team, what do you do the rest of the day?
Studying.
Nice. Somebody just bid on one of my eBay auctions. Nice.
All right. Well, that was objectively wrong. That is John. I am Ebteen. Chris is our editor. Kevin's in his corner. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.